Hey, welcome to a macaroni and cheese video. I'm going to make to my mum's traditional recipe of macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to show you the ingredients quickly. So 500 grams of your favorite macaroni, 750 grams of your favorite grated cheese, cheddar type cheese. It's 800 grams of chopped tomatoes, 4 extra large eggs, 6 smaller eggs maybe, some milk to beat with the eggs, some curly leaf parsley, 1 large onion. Take you to a pot, decent size saucepan. Bring the pot to the boil, and while it's all rumbling, add some salt, add about a tablespoon of olive oil in there, and then add to that your favorite macaroni, and bring that to a boil. Let it cook till it's just cooked, and then when it's just cooked, I will bring you back. I'm going to do that now. I'm not going to let you watch me cook macaroni, right? So I'll bring you back when we're done with the cooking of the macaroni. Right, empty the cooked macaroni into a colander and let it stand for a bit while you get on with the other things. To the pot where you just emptied the macaroni out, add some olive oil and heat that. Bring that olive oil and let it heat up before you add the chopped onions. The onions you've chopped earlier are going to go into the olive oil heating in the pan, and finally chop your curly parsley in the meantime. To the oil, add the onions with about a teaspoon and a half of salt, and soften the onions. Don't cook them to brown them. You still want them white, so cook them on a moderate to low heat. They must still be must be translucent, but semi still there. Don't cook the onions away. And once that's done, we're going to add some Italian seasoning herbs to that, just about a tablespoon of that, into the onions, and then I'll bring you back once we're done. Preheat the oven to 180 degrees in the meantime. So to the eggs, add about 100 ml, or not even that, 2 to 3 tablespoons of milk. That's the milk. And then to that I also added I cracked some sea salt in there and some black pepper for seasoning. So I'm going to beat all of that up now, and we will use that when we assemble the macaroni dish. Just to say that the adding eggs is optional, so if you have somebody with an egg allergy or something like that, you don't need to put the eggs in, but it does bind everything together nicely. For those who like a macaroni that's not bound together, then you can put fewer eggs or no eggs. All right, so it is optional, but my family tend to like it all bound, so I'll bring you back. So as you can see, the onions are very translucent, most of them. I don't want to cook them too much because we still want some body of those onions in the food. Alright, so to the onions, so we'll add some Italian seasoning and some Italian herbs. So let's put some in there. About, if I'm guessing, I cook with roughly a teaspoon to a tablespoonful of it. Yeah, so that's roughly. Okay. We just want to put some seasoning in it, as it's pasta. So we'll try and bring an Italian spin to a Shereen homemade dish. I can smell the herbs in there now. We'll just give that a minute to just infuse with the herbs and the onions, and then once that minute's up, I'm going to add the tomatoes. Right, yeah, the herbs and onions have fused enough, there's a minute or so. To this dish, normally at this stage, I add a few whole dried red hot chilies, and only about 3 or 4, sometimes 6, if it's just for adults that are going to eat it. But this dish I've cooked for the little ones, from 7 and younger, and we don't want to surprise them when they are eating their food and they bite into a dried red hot chili. So it's going to be kiddie friendly, this dish. I'm not going to put those chilies in here. I ordinarily do put 3 or 4 in here just to give it some flavor, but the kids won't like that too much, so we're not going to surprise them with that. So in will go the tomato into there, and I'm going to stir it up. I'll bring you back. Okay, I've stirred in the tomato and onion, and you can see the onions are still nice and whole in there. To this, because the tomato is quite acidic, I want to just neutralize it. Now, be clear, we are not sweetening the food, right? I'm going to add, this is a tiny teaspoon. It's like half a teaspoon, half a normal teaspoon of sugar. I'm not even going to put all of that. It's just to remove the tartness and the acidity from the tomato. So if you see, I don't even use all of it, just a little bit. It's not supposed to be a sweet dish. It's just to remove the thing, and that's some brown sugar to remove the acidity and the tartness from the food and the sharpness of the tomato. Right? It's not to sweeten the thing. Now, if you're all young enough and don't worry about diabetes or whatever, then put as much sugar as you want, to taste. But it's not supposed to be a sweet dish. It's a savory thing. And I will bring you back. The next thing I'm going to add to this is the parsley, and I'll bring you back when it's there. I'm going to cook this up, let this tomato really cook up and heat up properly, and then I'll add the parsley to it and stir that in, and I'll show you those steps as we go. I'll bring you back. Okay, we've sweated the tomato and onion down. You can see it's all bubbling and cooking away. Next, I'm going to add that parsley in there, and I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to let it just cook in slightly for not even 30 seconds, and I'll bring you back when it's done. Alright, we've added, sorry about the lighting, we've added the parsley in, and we'll just stir that in quickly, and even just that stirring in with the pot on is enough that we want in that. Okay. Right, now we turn the stove off. We're done cooking this. To this we're going to add, I'm going to show you that in a second. So you get the macaroni in the colander, and you pull it out, you break it up piece by piece and not the whole chunk, and to keep the macaroni all whole, otherwise it all might mash up, because it does stick together in the thing. If you wet your hands a bit, it'll come out easier. So I might put some water in a container and just keep my hands wet, and then the macaroni will peel off. But I'll show you when I've added the macaroni to the top of this. I'll bring it back. So all the macaroni is in the pot. It's all broken up nicely in there. As you can see, they're individual pieces mostly, but as you mix them into the actual tomato thing, it will break up further and they'll separate as the moisture gets out. So this step, mix thoroughly, don't mush it up, mix it gently but thoroughly, mix everything together, because you're going to need it all nicely mixed to assemble. So there's the light, see the light there. We're going to mix that thoroughly now. Then once it's all mixed, that is what you should have. Macaroni mixed with tomato, onions, and parsley. And there's some Italian herb seasoning, and some salt. Pepper will come with the eggs. Right. So let's get the macaroni assembled in the dish. Right. There we have our macaroni. We have a dish. I'm going to put in dish one thin layer of macaroni. Right. So we're going to make a thin layer like that of macaroni. Well, I'll bring you back when I'm done with that. So there you go. Thin layer, about a centimeter, now maybe just over a centimeter in depth in the dish. Okay. To that, you add a layer of cheese. So you take your favorite grated cheese and you put a layer of cheese in there, liberally covering all of the macaroni. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay. Right, now we've covered all of that macaroni with some delicious cheese. It's a really nice cheesy macaroni dish. So if you're worried about your cholesterol, find something. You can't. We live once. But anyway, so next is you take the balance of that macaroni, all of it, and you cover this so that it's spread evenly. Alright, so example, spread all of it into this dish evenly. Okay, I'll bring you back when that is all done. So while you're watching me do that. Right, that's the rest of that macaroni, pot's empty, all spread nicely into that dish, and there's still some space on the top. Right, I transferred the egg to a jug so I can pour it. Now I'm going to pour all of this egg evenly across the whole thing. It'll seep through and drop down like so. Okay, that's all the egg in there. And guess what's the last thing? We are going to finish it off and cover the whole thing in cheese. Might not use all the cheese, but cover it generously. Alright? I'm going to do that and I will bring you back. I need 2 hands for that. Okay. Right. That's it. All of that cheese, covered that. I had some other cheese as well, which I just topped it up with. So we're going to put this in the oven at 170 on fan. If you've got a non-fan oven, then 180 for 30 minutes, right? And if you want it golden brown on the top, just leave it a bit longer, let it brown. But I think 30 minutes is enough. And the trick is, after the 30 minutes is up, you can put a fork or something and just make sure that the egg is nicely cooked and stuff. Should all be okay for 30 minutes. I've tested this many times, hundreds of times actually. I would also suggest that when it's done, you take it out the oven completely and don't turn the oven off and leave it to stay there. It overcooks it, and we don't want it overcooked. So a nice fresh macaroni cheese, pop out the oven, is what you want, right? And let it rather cool outside of the oven and not in the oven heat. I'm going to pop this in the oven now for 30 minutes, and then when I take it out, I'll show you what it looks like, because I may the guests may not be arriving for this, and I might need to dish them up and take it, so I'll show you what it looks like when it's dished out. Alright? Okay. Thank you for watching this. See you later. Bye. Right. This is what good looks like. It's browned in places. You see? Nicely and sizzling. Cheese is nicely cooked on top. Hot. Crispy. And that's it. And as I said, take it out of the oven and let it stand to cool a bit. Not in the oven. Okay. So, oven off. And that's it. Cut squares. Dish it. I don't want to dish it now. I'm going to go and fetch the guests. They are on their way. So, thank you for watching. I hope you will use this in this recipe and enjoy it as much as we do. And that's the timer. Video is over. Till the next one. Bye. I know I said goodbye in the previous video, but yeah, we're going to do the cutting of the mac and cheese. So let's see what it looks like on the inside. That's the mac and cheese goodness. Look at that. That was going to go for a lovely one. That's how I portion them, as you can see. Alright, thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.